Joe Biden on Tuesday claimed, without evidence, that gas companies are overcharging Americans at the pump by not passing on cost savings from lower wholesale gas prices to prices at the pump. Gas prices are not abnormally high relative to either wholesale gasoline prices or crude oil prices. In fact, the ratios of wholesale gas prices to retail prices and that crude oil to retail gas prices are both currently below their 10-year averages. That indicates that consumers at the gas pump are paying around what would be expected given the price of oil or the wholesale price of gasoline. On Tuesday, the White House announced that the U.S. would release 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in an ploy to bring down the price of gas. The immediate market response was a jump in the price of gas by 3.3% to over $82 a barrel. Biden also claimed, falsely, that Americans were being overcharged by gasoline companies that were not passing on cheaper wholesale prices. Historically, of course, there tends to be some lag between wholesale prices and prices at the pump, what economists sometimes call pass-through delays. Gas stations tend to raise retail prices gradually in response to increasing wholesale prices. Similarly, gasoline prices at the pump typically decline at a slower rate over time in response to falling wholesale prices, the Department of Labor explains in a 2015 article on the subject. When prices are falling, this can mean that gasoline station margins widen. But the opposite is true when prices are climbing, this can squeeze margins. This delay in passing along wholesale price changes to consumers typically results in lower margins during periods of rising crude oil prices and higher margins during periods of declining crude oil prices. The price of crude oil is volatile, and significant price changes take time to work their way through the refining and distribution sectors before reaching consumers, writes the Department of Labor. It is also true that price declines tend to be passed through more slowly than price increases. Exactly why this is so remains a matter of debate. Let's go to the Department of Labor again for the competing explanations. If something unusual or illegal were happening now, this would show up in the ratio of wholesale prices to prices at the pump. But as the following chart indicates, there is no big change here. In fact, current prices at the pump are 1.28 times the wholesale price, slightly below the 10-year average of 1.34 times. That big spike in 2020 came from the crash of wholesale prices that took a short while to get passed on to consumers. What about prices at the pump compared with crude oil? Here also the current ratio of 24.48 to 1 is slightly below the long-term average of 24.98 to 1. In other words, a gallon of gasoline typically costs around 25 cents for $10 of the price of a barrel of oil, and now it costs a bit less than that. Here's the chart, and, again, you can see the crash associated with the pandemic. In short, what's happening now in gasoline prices looks normal given what we are seeing in global oil prices. The problem is likely not illegal or anti-competitive behavior by gas stations but the inflation loosed upon the global markets by the combination of profligate government spending, accommodative monetary policy, and anti-fossil fuel politics of the Biden administration.